Ladies and gentlemen, and now it is time for Professor Dr. Dafna Kariv. Professor Dafna is the chair of the Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovation and the chair of Novus, Center of Entrepreneurship at the School of Business Administration in Israel. At the business school, she has initiated and leading the incubator and accelerator programs for entrepreneurs. She is the academic director of the thesis program and in charge of the collaboration with Zicklin School, Baruch College in New York. She is the co-director of the Center for Social Business and Impact Investment, supported by Rothschild Zarea Foundation and Duali Social Investment Fund. Dafna Kariv is a recipient of several prized funds, including the European Commission funds. She is involved in many academic boards, the ambassador of German-Israeli Startup Exchange Program, as well as consultant of the Ministry of Education for Entrepreneurship Program. PhD, Dafna Kariv.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we don't have much time, right? And I'm competing with the break, so I'll be very punctual. So thank you very much, the organizer, Robert, Daniela, Violetta, and everybody. It's amazing. Thank you very much for my colleagues here, keynote speakers. So I was thinking about trying to take you to a journey. The journey that I have done in order to address the challenge that I've got, that I was invited to think about the future of entrepreneurship, since this is my expertise, or is it the future where entrepreneurship fuels the future? So I was looking at the conference themes, and I saw, as you have already mentioned several times, that we have here themes regarding innovation and international competition, and we have developing trends and so on. But we also have poverty, unemployment, aging, Brexit. And I was thinking, what exactly do we see here? Do we see here new needs and wants? And when I refer to needs and wants, I refer to needs is something that is a must-to, like aging, like health, like education, while wants is something that we want to, okay? Something that it is nice to have. So do we see here new trends or new themes for the needs and the wants? And I have chosen this picture, which is very interesting, not just because it's a cute child here, but there is a new trend that maybe says something about the wants and the needs and the future and what entrepreneurship entails. So you see here this cute child from Africa. He and the other children there, they come from deprived rural areas in Africa. And there were some companies that were or are still donating their merchandise to these deprived areas in Africa in order to enable them escape poverty and unemployment and all this deprivation that they encounter. So, for example, H&M and Pizza Hut and Coca-Cola and so on, they donated some of their merchandise to these rural areas. And the children there, they started to like those merchandise. And they want now pizza. So, and they want now, you know, the H&M costumes and so on. So they still suffer from hunger, from health problems, from deprivation of education, cultural services, and so on. But concurrently, they want something else. They want the wants. So we see here a different hybridization of needs and wants. And this is very interesting. So going into this journey that I want to share with you, I was questioning myself, and this is something that I will be happy to think together afterwards during breaks and during the sessions. Entrepreneurship provides innovative solutions for future needs and wants, but future needs and wants will be structured through the existing entrepreneurial products and services and innovative solutions, and I will drill down to explain what exactly I meant. So again, during this journey of looking for the future for entrepreneurship, I crossed through this report, which is the EY, Ernst & Young report, on the mega trends. So, and my colleagues have addressed it. So we see several interesting trends. For example, the decline of PC usage, but there is an increase in mobile device use. Or, for example, the digital transformation, the agile work styles, the bots, the robotic and the bots, the high-impact entrepreneurs like social entrepreneurs, environmental entrepreneurs, and so on. Education and knowledge is very interesting right now because it increases in China, especially in China, but it decreases in the US, Japan, Europe, when we were used to see lots of thorough education and global cities. So these are the mega trends that Ernst & Young have pointed on. So the question, are these needs or are these wants? And why it is interesting? Because we would like to see who is the one that is leading those innovations. Are these innovations led by innovators, entrepreneurs, business people, that they have the passion to innovate something, that they had done something even by accident, that they code something, and here we go, they introduce a new device to the world? Do we need it? Or is it their passion? Or is it the needs and the wants of the target populations, of the consumers, of the governments? For example, we have a lack of interest of entrepreneurs in the areas of health in terms of aging. This is not sexy, this is not attractive, so we don't have much innovative devices because entrepreneurs are not that prone to these areas. So again, the wants and the needs. Whose wants and needs do we look for, or are we cultivating in order to make a new future? And here it's another report. I will give you the link. I will give you this presentation so you can also browse the links. It's very interesting. But this is another report on the disruptive technological trends. So you see here, these are the disruptive technological trends that investors and academia around the world pointed out that there will be the future trends. So you see here the big data, the drones, the Bitcoin that my colleague has discussed a bit, the fintech, wearables, IoT, of course, virtual reality and augmented reality, the cybersecurity, machine learning. So are these needs or are these wants? And I will explain it by 3 examples. Look at this wearable. This is something that you can put on your body, okay, and it counts your calorie, okay? Is it a need or a want? Is it a must-have or is it a nice-to-have? So intuitively, I would say it's nice to have. I mean, I can look at my plate and see what I'm eating and maybe calculating in my mind if it's healthy or not, if it's, what kind of, how many calories does it contain. But this is a must. Why? Because this specific device has been developed for diabetic and obese children. So for them, wearing such a device would be a health matter, and it can save lives. Let's see this device. This is interesting. It's a sweater that it has colors according to your moods. So for example, if I'm very angry, it will be red. And if I'm very happy, it will be blue. And if I'm very exhausted, it will be yellow and so on. Again, is it a nice to have or is it a must? Again, I would say it's a nice to have. I mean, it's kind of a gamification, yeah? But no, it was developed for autistic people. So they have some kind of a gap between the cognitive and the affectual aspects. So when they wear it, they can see by the color at least what is the name or what is the term of what they feel. How can they express it and say to someone else, it's blue, I'm happy, because they don't know how to say that. So you see, it's a must. And the last one is the drones, of course, okay, the drones. You see, the drones here, they are bringing pizza. Come on, I mean, it's really nice to have. But no, the drones are also saving lives. So you see, again, hybridity between musts and wants, which is very interesting. And for the future and the future of entrepreneurship, we have to look at this more thoroughly. Now, it's very confusing. I mean, I'm not sure that you can see it well, but I will explain. This is the hype cycle. You know, a hype. Hype is a hype. It never lasts, okay? So I'm pointing with these arrows to some trends. For example, the virtual personal assistant, this one, okay? So as you see here, we have different trends that are developing. The virtual assistant, personal assistant, has been developed for at least between 5 and 10 years, okay? This is the indication here. And it is still increasing until it reaches the peak, okay? We have the smart robots, we have so many others. So everybody is speaking similarly about the virtual personal assistant and the augmented reality, for example. But the augmented reality is here. Oh, sorry, it's here. It's already down. Okay, so we have to refine it and to understand that these trends are hype. Okay, now it's fantastic. Everybody is speaking about, let's say, about the autonomous vehicles. Okay, the Google car, it's here. No, it is already declining. It reached its peak. It's already declining. And what we see here, it's interesting because the stages indicate something. They indicate that there is a model. The model that might be a very good clue or hint for us to understand what would be the future. So entrepreneurs, they start by introducing innovation, like the virtual personal assistant, like the smart robots. I had so many stories about that, but I know we are very short in time, so I will tell you the stories afterwards, very funny stories about the virtual robots, what they do, okay? But this is innovation. So entrepreneurs, what they do, they introduce the innovation to the market. The innovation penetrates the market, usually by early adopters, these early adopters. So they say something about those devices. They say, hey, I tried this robot. It's cool, okay? And then the others would say, okay, I want to try it too. So the innovation actually leads to expectations. And then when I tried Facebook 10 years ago, and I said, I don't believe in this stuff. I have my own friends. I don't need virtual friends. But then it led to addiction. Because today, I think that daily I look at the Facebook, okay? And I put some stuff and so on. So afterward, there is an addiction. But then when we use those devices, then there is a stage of disillusion. We understand, firstly, that maybe we don't need that, okay? We can do things without those technologies and machines. Secondly, there are other competitors that give us solutions, not specifically by the same products or services, but other solutions for the same needs, which are from completely different areas. So these illusions would make some kind of would bring some kind of challenges to the startups themselves, which would be either in plateau level or maybe pivot. And actually, the meeting point where entrepreneurship is really, let's say, dominant or very important for the needs and the wants would be a combination of different streams and different disciplines and different practices, including expertise, different expertise, global trends, global needs, wants, knowledge, technology. I'm sorry it looks like this. In my computer, it was much, much better, so sorry about that. But there are two very interesting factors that would also determine something about the blend between the wants and the needs. So firstly is the Generation Z and the millennials, what we call the Generation Y. And secondly, learning and education, which is also transformed. And I'm looking at the Generation Z and the millennials because these are the ones that will be and are, okay, the Generation Z. The others would be the next generation of our workers, managers, entrepreneurs. They are studying right now. And you see some very interesting, let's say, characteristics about Generation Z, okay? So the new ones, okay? So what we know about the new ones? They process information faster than the Generation Y. Okay, so in this gap of generation, not the Generation X or the baby boomers, I mean these two new generations, okay, so the new ones, they process information much faster than the previous one. Their attention is much, much lower. Can you imagine? I mean, as professors, okay, it will be a challenge, okay? They less care about price. They don't care about the money at all. They more quickly and efficiently shift between tasks. We know that. We just have to look at our children at home, okay? And they can manage everything very well when they are distracted. I mean, it's very complex for us, but it's very easy for them and natural for them. And they are predicted to go directly to the workforce and maybe skip higher education or have some kind of higher education, even high school, online. They are more entrepreneurial, they want more independence, they are more global in terms of their mindsets and so on. And you see some of the other typifications that they have. So we have to take into consideration that they are different and they will lead the world. This is very interesting. It comes from the Gartner. So the Gartner reports looks at the let's say the new generation's average activities, and the interesting thing is that the new generation, both generations Z and Y, the millennials, both of them, okay, and these are Americans, but I'm not sure there are so many differences. Then you see that within 1 week, which also includes weekend, okay, weekend hours. So they have 7 hours of sleep. They have 6 hours of work because it includes weekends as well. Okay, they have 5 hours of video. 3 hours of audio. Okay. And many others. And you see here that the digital activities take more than half of the waking time. So the question is, in terms of entrepreneurship and the future, and what do we face, what will we face, is how do we catch their attention? And again, there are our students and there will be the workforce. Do we want to implement the traditional attention and tell them, well, you shouldn't look at your machines, okay? Whatever it is, the mobile, the PC, and so on. But we are risking because they are not capable to put off their machines. It's a kind of addiction. innovation, expectation, addiction. And they're in the face of the addiction, okay? So on a personal level and also on a general level, they will still stick with those mobiles. So maybe we should change, and the world would change to a different way of managing things and activities in terms of the education, which should be more online, and I will address it in a minute, the workforce or the work itself, and the communication. I remember that when I had to speak with my parents, I had to look in their eyes. And you have to see how my kids are speaking to me, okay? It's like this. Hi, Mom, okay? And they love me the same, you know, but still, it's a different way of communication. And here we have something that is very interesting as well. You see, for example, that the new generation, they use 5 apps, okay? Mainly, it's the Facebook, it's the WhatsApp or the WeChat, okay? It's the Instagram. Some of them use the GPS, like Waze or so on. Do you use the GPS for driving? Okay. Spotify, and these are the 5, the main 5. They use 5 websites, mainly the same one. 18 Challenge, again, it depends on the televisions. But the interesting thing is that you see here the increase. And the increase is on WhatsApp. And do you use WhatsApp? Here, the WhatsApp application, yeah, okay. So it's the WhatsApp, and you see the Facebook Messenger, and I can't see, sorry. Yeah, and the WeChat, okay, the WeChat is the Asian one, and the Instagram as well. So we see that in terms of social messaging, the communication is completely different. And if we want to communicate and if we want to see the future, then we have to take these into consideration. These are not just trends that we have to put them aside and to educate the new generation, but we have to blend in and to see how can we do something that will be a win-win situation. So it's an opportunity and it is a necessity as well. So I said 2 things. First is the generation. The second would be the learning and education. It's in entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship as a mindset, not specifically as a content. And you see that we will have to, and I think we are there already, we will have to form differently the structure, the ecosystem, and the customized driven programs. Because the new generation wants value. Okay, so they come to our courses to get value. Otherwise, if it's not valuable, it's not interesting. Okay, they want to understand what exactly do they get from those courses, from the content, for what we do. Secondly, they like shared learning. Again, so it has to be in different forms in terms of the structure. Maybe little groups, round tables, and so on. Multiple venues as well, which is very important. Co-working spaces, also not specifically for our students, but also for the workers, for the entrepreneurs. Many entrepreneurs, for example, they use the co-working spaces. Some years ago, they would say, I won't take the chance to be in a co-working space because people would copy my inventions. But not anymore. They don't think like this anymore. And again, extracting the classroom limits even to global spheres. In terms of the ecosystem, the new generation, they involve all their stakeholders. They would look at some of the stakeholders as competitors, but mainly they would like to join together and to find a new win-win situation. So the fights are elsewhere, unfortunately, but luckily there are less and less within the education, learning, and also work spheres, because people want to join and to see how we can leverage things together rather than to fight each other. And then in terms of the customization, so the courses are practice-driven. There are, we see hands-on courses and hands-on programs. They are online because the new generation, they have their own time and their own, mood. So they can't wake up early in the morning to come to a course because they are not in the mood. So that's okay. Let's give them some other online courses and they will learn while they have the mood. So it will be much more effective, okay? Even though it's a transformation for us. Virtual learning, which enables them to contact other students and other stakeholders in the ecosystem, even outside of their countries. They want to be led by experts from their field, not one professor only, even though they have lots of respect to the academia, but still they want to feel and touch the practice as well, which is very important. And they are very chaotic in their minds and mindsets. So the design thinking and some other non-linear thinking is very important for them. I don't have the time for the 4 minutes, but again, I will. But it's a very nice TED talk. But I will give you the presentation so you'll be able to see it. As a researchers, we are always intrigued by what is the future of entrepreneurship and what is the future of the world. So I would say it very, very briefly due to time constraints. But I was thinking about three streams three streams of research that could explain what are we facing. First is the push-pull, which is also termed the necessity-opportunity approaches. We have some very, let's say, popular research by Reynolds and some others of the PSED database and the GEM database. And they say that people may be pushed to entrepreneurship or may be led to entrepreneurship either by being pushed or by being pulled. So being pushed, it means that those people are dissatisfied with their current position. And they see the entrepreneurship as the place where they can realize their dreams that are unrealized in the conventional market. And the pull would be some people that are attracted to entrepreneurship, to innovation, to thinking differently. So they may even renounce their jobs, their prestigious places, just to go and to become entrepreneurs. For example, Steve Jobs or the others, Mike Zuckerberg and so on, that they were dropouts, but from Harvard and so on, okay? So they could find any kind of job, but they were attracted to entrepreneurship. So this would be one stream that is interesting to see how it can explain the challenges that we are going to face in the future of the world and the entrepreneurship. The second one is the contextual approaches, which is quite, let's say, it's I wouldn't say that it's that popular. It's still questionable in one term because it says that everything is temporal and everything has to do with the context. So there are many criticisms about these time-based approaches. But if we look at the different culture and the different magnitude of the developments of entrepreneurial activities in different countries, we understand, and the hype cycle, we understand that there is something here that can explain or at least be the research umbrella for what we face. And then the effectuation, which is very, very interesting. And when we are talking, I come from the business school. So when we are talking about the business-related disciplines, we put aside the affection, okay? Even in entrepreneurship, we put aside, so finance and marketing and strategy and human resources, everything is without affection. But we have now the new streams that look at the affection, at the affectional part of the entrepreneur, of the passion, the resilience, positive psychology. This is something that we have to take into consideration because the new generations are much more driven by those characteristics. So it's very interesting. So in conclusion, again, we went through this journey that I've done myself in order to prepare this presentation. And I don't have one conclusion that we say, okay, the next future of entrepreneurship would be so and so. I think it's a combination of the needs and the wants. I think it's a combination of the structure that the new generation is going to form. I think it's a combination of things that are driven by passion, but also things that are driven by the emerging trends and the emerging needs that we are facing. Altogether, I predict it will be a wonderful future and wonderful entrepreneurship. And the rest of the discussion about what you think would be probably, I think, in the break or in the session. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Also some certificate. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Kariv. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for coffee break, 20 minutes, and then we'll work in sessions. Please welcome. And have fun also. Thank you.